hello. I don't know if anybody's watching or not. But hello, my friends. This is MDog967 here, and it is currently 1 in the morning. I couldn't sleep, so we're making another podcast episode. We're going to just have a midnight talk. Because everybody needs a midnight talk sometimes. Sometimes you need to just get away from it all. And sometimes, when you're getting away from it all, you know, and there's a lot of ways to do that, to get away from it all, so to say, whatnot. Uh, but there are times where whenever you are trying to get away from it all, in whatever sense you are, whether it be going on a walk, reading a book, watching a movie, listening to music, laying down, going to sleep at night when you have things to do in the morning. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be that you do in order to have your time to get away from it all. Sometimes, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of any of it, sometimes we all just need to kind of talk. We need to talk, be talked to, be spoken to, I should say, and just see where we're at. See where we're at with ourselves, with the things we want to do, the decisions we're trying to make in our own lives, whatever conflict may be involved there, and just where you stand on everything, how you're feeling, where your head is at. And that's what I'm here for. Not necessarily to help any of you with that, I don't know if I can help any of you with that. What you go through is what you go through. What I go through is what I go through. And, I can only do so much to be helpful to you, to the things you go through. Excuse me. Thought there was a lot of yawning in the last one. Oh, there's going to be a lot more in this one, buddy. I'm letting you know now. But I can only do so much to help any of you through the things you go through. In the same way that you can only do so much to help me through the things I go through and the things I do. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a person. You're just a person. We're all just people. We're all just human beings. We're all coming at it from the same angle. We all have the same approach. It's just through a different lens. And the way you view somebody else's situation, your own situation, whichever, and somebody else's situation, it doesn't matter who that somebody else is. Friend, family, loved one, a person you dislike, a person you hate, a person you barely know, a stranger on the street, whatever the case may be, we're all viewing it with a different perspective. Everyone around us is going through something. And we all just need to talk sometimes. Be talked at. Everyone's going through something. It doesn't matter if you think somebody else's life is perfect. They're probably going through something. It doesn't matter if they think your life is perfect. You're probably going through something. And if you go I know there's probably going to be those of you out there who are like, come on, Matt M. Dog, if that's your real name. It's not. But I know there are going to be those of you out there who are going to be like, come on, I'm not going through anything. I'm good. Life is good. I'm happy. I'm not going through anything. Well, let me ask you this. What are you scared of? right now, in this moment, what are you scared of? Do you have to comment it? No, not by any means. But you're scared of something. Everybody's scared of something. You can't live life without fear. And there's healthy fear and there's unhealthy fear, of course. And whether the thing you're scared of at this very moment is rational or irrational. Yawns. Oh my gosh. Whether or not whatever fear you're facing, whatever fear you have in you right now, be rational or irrational, be big or small, something that you can't get off your mind, or even just the tiniest sliver of a thought, and everywhere or anywhere and everywhere in between, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is there's something you're scared of right now. There are plenty of things I'm scared of, and I will gladly admit that. See, because fear isn't this negative thing that it's always made out to be. You know, you watch that movie Inside Out, and all the fear guy is good. Riley, her emotions, happy, sad, angry, scared, and disgusted. I don't know how disgust is an emotion, but work with me on it. Wow, I am tired, and I need this podcast. So this is what's going to help me sleep, y'all. And getting really high. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be getting high. But so you take fear as a character. They characterized fear, right? For the movie, fear is a very important emotion. Um, it's a very important feeling, and so they characterized fear. But instead of and don't get me wrong, the whole point of Inside Out is to tackle depression. That's what the movie's going for. And for what it does, it portrays it beautifully. Your happiness isn't there, but you're not necessary. But depression isn't always just feeling sad. Sometimes there is no sadness there. Sometimes the only way depression can come out is through anger and fear, through disgust. I guess it is an emotion. Through all those other things. Sometimes depression comes across as just too much. Everything all at once, and now you're overwhelmed and numb. It rears its head in many ways, and the movie depicts it great. Okay? The movie does a great job of talking about depression, but fear as a character in that movie is done so terribly. Like, dude deserved so much more. And don't get me wrong, he is a great character, but and I think he's funny. And this isn't a bash on Inside Out as a movie. This isn't me going at Disney. It's the fact of how we as a society, how we as a culture, not just one individual culture, no, but just about every culture on this earth. You know, almost every person on this planet I don't know what I just said. English. Like I said, tired and high. Give me an excuse, okay? But everybody on this earth, or damn near close to everybody on this earth, seems to view fear as an inherently bad thing. And the movie does with our example with Inside Out, the movie actually does do at times a decent job expressing fear, in a good way, showing it in a good way. Fear can also, if you think, when you really think about it, fear is not just fear. It's also yourself. It's your conscience. It's your conscience talking to you. Your conscience just isn't this determination of, well, this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. It breaks down more into that. If you've ever heard the saying, if you have to ask yourself if it's a good idea, it's not a good idea, well, there's a reason behind that. And the reason behind that is you will never be scared of a good idea. A good idea, a genuinely good idea, an idea that you have and you just know for a fact in your system is a good idea. In some way, shape, or form. Now, mind you, there is such a thing as bad ideas. Murder is a bad idea. Don't murder people, okay? There is such a thing as bad ideas. And not everything that you think is a good idea is really a good idea. But there are times, there are certain times in life where we all get this little thing inside us. And it's when you're making a decision and you're scared. But there's one option you fear more. There's an option that stands out to you more because you're more scared of that option. Because you'll get more hurt going that way. Because you're afraid of what that option might really bring. That decision, that idea. You're scared of what it might bring. Because you know it probably won't bring good things. And so when you have that knowledge, you have that understanding to say, I know that this is probably a bad idea. And you contemplate it. And you get that feeling, that conscious idea. The idea from your conscience. Wow! We are going to have to start ranking my yawns. Oh my gosh. But when you get that thought coming to you from your conscience, it's just one of like what Jiminy Cricket is sitting on Pinocchio's shoulder, or Jack Horner if you've seen the newest Puss in Boots movie. So let's be honest, it's Jiminy Cricket. I mean, his name is probably like Jimmy Cricket, but anyway, like with little Jiminy Cricket right there, sat on your shoulder, if Jiminy has to ask you if what you're doing is a good idea, if it's the right thing to do, it's because you've been told already what's a bad idea. You know already what the bad idea would be. You have an inclination of it. You've been told the right thing. You know the right thing you're supposed to be doing. You know the thing that you should do. The right thing. In your own mind, even if you have to debate on the two, you know that there's a right answer and a wrong answer. And Jiminy shows up when you start leaning towards that wrong answer. And it makes you scared. Why is this the wrong answer? How is this the wrong answer? Is this going to hurt me more? Is this going to cause something worse for me? It's fear talking to you. Bringing in reason. Bringing in logic. Jiminy is that fear. Because fear brings in logic. Fear makes you hesitate to do things that you have some understanding, whether it be somebody telling you, something you learned in a book, or whatever. Something that you learned, something that you experienced, something that you know through one means or another is wrong. Because you know what's right. Jiminy is that fear of, well, if I don't do what's right, what's going to happen? You hesitate. You contemplate. You have to reason it out for yourself. Fear oftentimes gets this really negative personification of it will only inhibit you. Fear will only keep you back in life. Being scared is bad. You're not supposed to be scared. You know. And for men especially for men. And I don't want to, go political with anything, I don't stray into that. But at least not here, not on the channel. I keep my channel away from that. I keep, uh, I'm trying to be professional. I'm trying to just talk. Uh, but so anyway, for men especially, fear is something that we're told we shouldn't have. And you can look anywhere to see this. And this is something that pretty much every side agrees on too, is men are told they're not allowed to feel fear. That if they feel fear, they're pathetic. That if they're scared, well, that just makes you a loser. And fear in general seems to have this negative connotation. Just the idea of fear. Well, if you're scared of doing something, then if you're scared of this, it's unreasonable, it's ridiculous, it's irrational. I mean, why do you think phobias are categorized, are literally defined? Not categorized, my goodness. I haven't even really started smoking yet. Wow. Why do you think a phobia is defined as the irrational fear of something? Phobia is an irrational fear. Arachnophobia, the irrational fear of spiders. And maybe it is irrational. Maybe it is. Maybe at times it is. There are some fears that blow my mind. Okay? Anatidaphobia. The irrational fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you, Jimmy. I'm sorry. No. Literally, though, you can look it up. I'm not even going to try and spell it, because it's not that tough. But anatidaphobia. The irrational fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. Now, that's pretty irrational, I will admit. And there are some fears, there are some phobias that very much so are irrational. I get to flex this in front of the entire world right now. I have been looking for this opportunity for so long. Hippopotamonstrossus quipedaliophobia. The irrational fear of extremely long words. The irrational fear of extremely long words. Hippopotamonstrossus quipedaliophobia. I'm definitely not trying to spell that one. If you want to Google it, good luck to you. But it sounds irrational. Let's be honest, it is irrational. Because the only times that you're going to ever have to use the word hippopotamonstrossus the only time you are ever going to have to say the sentence, I have hippopotamonstrossus quipedaliophobia, and try not to cry through it and have a panic attack. The only times you are going to use this sentence is to either A, demonstrate the fact that you can say that long ass word. B, because you're trying to explain to people why you're scared of saying that long ass word. Or C, because you started crying because Mary Poppins came on and they started singing Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And you're gonna cry and have a panic attack, and everybody else is gonna be like, "Yay, Mary Poppins!" You're gonna be like, "Oh my god!" It's not a good situation. But so would I classify that as irrational? Yes, I would call that irrational. I'd say that's very irrational. To have a fear of extremely long words, it's irrational. Don't get me wrong. Anything can become irrational when you go too far into it. But fear is not always irrational. Fear is healthy. Fear shows us we're alive. Fear keeps us alive. Because whatever you're afraid of, whether it be extremely long words, the idea that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you, or something else, like spiders, snakes, cats, cars, talking to that person, saying hi, asking how they're doing, pushing that person away. Getting rid of that person from your life. Keeping that person in your life. Asking that person that really, really important question. Whatever it is you're scared of, everybody's scared of something right now. Not all fear is irrational, though. And I'm sure that if you answered, and if your response to me saying that everybody's scared of something was, "Oh, I'm perfectly fine, I'm not scared of anything," if that was your response, you're masking. I know. I do it a lot. You're masking. It's normal. You don't want to be afraid. You don't want to be afraid of whatever it is. If you're saying that you have no fears right now, you're lying to yourself. You're afraid of something. You just don't want to admit to it because admitting your fears makes them a lot harder to ignore. Personally, y'all, I have a fear of abandonment. And I have a fear of rejection. I wouldn't call them irrational fears by any means. It well, maybe for rejection. And there are reasons behind it, and I'm not going to dig into that, but admitting admitting even just to myself, I'm afraid of being rejected. It's more than just, oh, she doesn't want to go out with me. He doesn't want to go out with me. Whoever. I'm straight. I'm a guy. Okay, my default is she, but that obviously that doesn't apply to everyone out there. There are those of you who there's everyone out there. So that's why I corrected she, they, whatever. Everyone's out there. There's the potential for everyone to be listening, so might as well try and get along with everyone. Keep it peaceful. Keep things calm. Anyway, but oh, and just real quick, back on that kind of sidetrack. For now on, whenever I say something that seems more specific to my situation, like I said, I'm a straight guy. Show the fear that she would say no. The girl I like would tell me no, I don't want to go out with you. That fear. Well, I'm just saying that because it's what I relate to. Fill in the bubbles where you need to. Um, you know, edit what I'm saying to where in your own head to where it kind of goes along with whatever. Anywho, my fear of rejection. Uh, it doesn't just apply to asking a girl out and getting turned down. Yes, I'm being rejected, but it's more than that. It's not just, oh, she said no, so now I'm sad. Okay, there's more. Fear of rejection for me, and for a lot of people. If you know you have a fear of rejection, if you think you might have a fear of rejection, uh, you know, if you think you have one, definitely look into it. I would highly recommend that to anyone. Understand yourself better mentally and emotionally. That's important for everyone. Um, but if you recognize within yourself a fear of rejection, uh, then you'll probably relate to what I'm saying with it's more than just, well, getting turned down because you asked somebody out or you asked for someone's number. It's more than just getting turned down. It's more than just getting turned down by a stranger at that. Sometimes you like somebody, you ask for their number, they turn you down. Yeah, it sucks, but that doesn't even cover the tip of the iceberg. Okay, that's like a single fleck of snow. What in the world? Oh my gosh, my screen just went buggy as hell. Is that an OBS thing? No, that's just my monitor. Okay, that's unsettling. Uh, oh, did my I'll get back to what I was saying here in like 2 seconds. I think I might have bumped my HDMI. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I bumped my HDMI, guys. Sorry about that. Anyway, there are going to be those of you who can relate to this really well with the fear of abandonment and whatnot. Um, with the fact being that it's more than just rejected. You didn't get somebody in the right. Yeah, it sucks. Fleck of snow, blood apart. Tired. Sorry. Ugh. Fear of rejection, like a genuine fear of rejection, more deeply roots in the fear of not being turned down necessarily, but people refusing you because of you being you. If that makes sense. My fear of rejection, so like I will also admit I'm an anxiously attached person. All my relationships, friends, family, love interest, whatever. I'm very anxiously attached, very anxiously. I understand that. I recognize that. I'm working on that. Very proudly, I am working on that. I want to better myself. And I encourage you all to find a way to better yourself. Whatever it may be. You've been thinking about therapy? Go do therapy. You've been thinking about learning this task? Or learning this skill? Go learn that skill. Better yourself. Oh. But So I'm working on my stuff. But anyway, my fear of rejection. It coincides with that anxious attachment to people. It's more the idea that I'm going to find somebody that does care, friend, family, lover, whatnot. It's the fear that I'll find somebody that I think does care who will just walk away. They'll tell me they care about me. They'll tell me they love me, in whatever way that may be. Um, they'll show love, care, and affection, and then they just leave. Or I guess they pretend to love and care, and then they just leave. When they've seen my most vulnerable side, when they've seen me at my lowest, they'll be there and they'll support me through it, and then just leave. And it hurts. It hurts like a motherfucker whenever it happens, because it does happen. More than I'd like to admit. And it makes me wonder about myself. Am I just too much? Am I just that much of a wreck of a person that nobody can stick around? What am I doing wrong? What did I do wrong? Where's my fault? Why did they do this? And I hold all my friendships, relationships, connection to family, I hold all of it with this same anxious attachment, especially those who I'm super close to. There's a decent chunk of my family I'm not very close to. There's a decent chunk of my friends I'm not very close to. There's a decent amount of everybody in this world that I'm not close to, that I know. Coworkers, family members, friends. The people that get really close, I get really anxious. I get scared. Scared of losing them. Scared that they're just going to walk away. And it makes it difficult. And that's why I'd probably call my fear of abandonment irrational. I've had some bad examples for it. Yeah. The reasoning behind that fear of abandonment, I'm not going to delve into that, but the reasoning behind it, very much so, is solid and set it up very solidly. And life seems to like to add on to that, every time. Life just likes to add on to it. Here's another bad example for you. Here's another example for you. Here's another example. Ooh, I know you were really happy with this, but actually, happens a lot. Happens to all of us. It just affected me differently. But see, that's the thing about fear. We all face a lot of the same stimuli as just about everybody else on this planet. Now, saying that we face the same stimuli and saying that we face the same experiences, not at all the same. Stimuli and experiences are completely different. An experience is a collection of differing stimuli. For instance, for somebody who's afraid of their house being broken into and robbed, okay, well, the stimuli, And if this very and it, if they're afraid of that because it's happened before, then the stimuli for the situation was they were at home, either alone or with people they were very concerned for. For it. For. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. But they were either alone or with people that they were very concerned for or very protective over. Um, they had a stranger approach at an undesirable time through an illegal means. There was a so they were home, quite possibly alone, or with someone they care about. You know, there was a stranger involved. It was probably the middle of the night. That stranger might have had weapons, of any kind. Could have walked in with a Lucille. For those of you who don't know, Lucille is a baseball bat with barbed wire wrapped around it. But point is, those are the stimuli. Okay, let's break it down into the four basic categories, into the four basic stimuli in that situation: home, nighttime, stranger, weapon. Okay, these are all stimuli we face constantly. You live in a house, right? Wow. Home. Fuck, it's 1 in the morning right now. Nighttime. Boom. I see strangers every day. And I'm around weapons every day. And guess what? So are all of you. Every last one of you has a weapon in your home. Notice how I say weapon, not firearm. Firearms aren't necessarily weapons. They're tools. They can be used as weapons. But they're not the only thing on the planet that can be used as weapons. Do you have a knife of any kind in your house? Butter knife, kitchen knife, pocket knife, Bowie knife? I don't know. Do you have any kind of knife in your home? Well, guess what? Knives include scissors. Knives also include razors. Razors means shaving. It means like a shaving razor. It means pencil sharpeners. You know that your pencil sharpener is a weapon, or at the very least, it has the potential to be one. Nail clippers. Your nail clippers are a weapon. They've got a sharp edge, and a lot of nail clippers, like these ones that I have right here on my desk, because I fidget with my nails a lot and I have to keep them very clean, otherwise I chew them. These nail clippers have a little file on them, which is really useful. Especially when my nails are like really, really jaggedy. Oh my gosh. Ugh. But that little file right there, it's got a little hook on the end to help get dirt out from under your nails, right? Weapon. You have a spoon in your house, that's a weapon. You have a fork, weapon. Pencil, pen, any sort of thing you can write with, weapon. Everything has the potential to be a weapon. We have weapons all around us all the time. It's how you use it. But anyway, where was I going with this? With weapons, stimuli, right? Fear, all that. Okay. So you've got weapons around you all the time. Nighttime is inevitable. Being at home is inevitable at some point in your life. Probably. I know homeless people do exist. I'm not. What I'm saying with home is inevitable is you have somewhere you go. You have somewhere you go that you know that you can be in this place. Somewhere. And for all intents and purposes, we'll call that home. So, weapons, home, nighttime. That last stimuli, that fourth stimuli, of strangers. Walk outside. You'll probably see a few different strangers. Strangers are all around us. They exist everywhere. All these stimuli are something that everybody, as the individual, with the individual stimuli, will all experience these things. We'll all face these things. We'll all be affected by these stimuli in one way or another at some point in our life. But it's when you take a group of stimuli and combine them into one event that they form experiences, that they form, I think experiences was the word I used earlier, but I also think it was something else. I don't remember. Anywho, experience, stimuli create situations. Everything is a stimuli. Everything around you creates the situation around you. And fear comes from experiencing stimuli in a certain way. I have a cousin who, I kid you not, is deathly afraid of roly-polies. And if he's not anymore, he was at one point. And the reason why is because my other cousin, his younger sister, filled like an entire cup full of them and just kind of dumped them on him in his sleep. Fucked up. And you would think, who would be scared of roly-polies? This dude. This dude is. Because he had that happen to him. Because he woke up covered in them. With them crawling all over him. And for those of you who have any fear of bugs, insects, or arachnids of any kind, that's your living hell right there, isn't it? Don't even deny it. That's just your living hell right there. But that situation made him terrified of roly-polies. And it's just like, huh? But see, that's the thing. Fear, irrational fear, comes from a negative experience with that particular stimuli. With that situation, with that surrounding. Fears come from all kinds of places. And they can be caused by the randomest things. But that doesn't mean that they're all unhealthy either. Now, a fear of abandonment, not healthy. Okay. Fear of roly-polies, not healthy. Fear that duck across the street from your house with that pair of binoculars hiding in the bush is actually watching you. Okay, maybe it's a little justified. But you get my point. Not every fear is healthy. But there are healthy fears. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people don't recognize the fact that there are healthy fears. There are things you should be scared of. Reasonable things. Having somebody break into your house is definitely a reasonable thing to be scared of. Even though I went off on a little tangent about it, it is a reasonable thing to be scared of. Especially if you have a family. If you have two young children and a spouse, or one young kid, or 9, I don't know. Maybe there's no spouse, maybe it's just the kids, maybe there's no kids, maybe it's just a spouse, whatever it may be. Especially when you have those people you care deeply for there with you, a break-in is terrifying because you don't want them hurt. That is a very justified fear. The fear of death is pretty justified too, if you ask me. See, because the fear of dying is more than just, I don't want to die. You're scared because of not knowing what comes next. And you may think, oh, well, then just, believe whatever religion you choose and that'll get rid of the fear. Well, no, it won't. See, because a lot of religions don't have a not so good place that you could end up in. A lot of religions say that, hey, if you're a terrible person, you go into HE double hockey sticks, or you're going to be tormented by this spirit after your death, or this will happen, or this, or that. Whatever the case may be, there's always a negative. There's almost always a negative involved. And the religions that don't really focus on a heaven or hell or type situation for the afterlife just say that essentially Buddhism with there's not anything after, so make peace with life. And it's just like, well, how do you know there's not anything after? And I'm not saying that that's a belief of Buddhism. I don't think it is. And I'm not trying to say that it is. I'm saying, I've said Buddhism for, make peace. The very peaceful stance on it. But so there are religions though that teach that. Sorry, there's a little moth in my house that keeps landing on my computer screen because it's the only source of light anywhere in the house right now. Anywho, there's a lot of religions. At least I'm sure there's got to be there's probably at least one religion, at least one religion out there. Not atheism. Atheism isn't really a religion. It is, but it isn't. It's weird. I don't know how the hell atheism gets counted as a religion when atheism is literally there is no such thing as any kind of God or deities or spirits. None of it. It's just we're here, we die. Talk about cynicism. My goodness. But I'm sure there's at least one or two religions out there where there isn't a heaven-hell type situation. There is no good or bad after death. It's just death and then peace. It just ends and then it's over. And that's okay. There are lots of, whatever. If there is a religion like that, that's perfectly reasonable. You're not trying to answer the mysteries of. You're not trying to solve the mysteries of the universe with what comes after life and death, so it's just over. But you should still try and do this because even though nothing comes after, you should do this for kind of like karma. If you take karma, the base belief of karma alone, if it was an entire religion itself, it's not. It's involved in Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, and even in some more European religion, even in some European religions, to an extent into Christianity. Um, like it's karma is a part of other religions. But if you were to take karma and just its base belief, just karma alone, the belief of karma alone, what goes around comes around, you could make an entire religion out of that. And so, what that religion would be like, for reference, is there. Let's say there's a deity out there, okay, and this deity, they created us just to create us, because why not? They could, so they did. And they've decided that, for whatever reason, your good deeds and your misdeeds, somebody's going to echo a good deed or a misdeed of equal or greater value in your direction for those good deeds and misdeeds. You can even get rid of the whole deity idea and just go with the universe. For whatever reason in the universe, whenever you do something good of equal or greater value is done for you. Whenever you do something bad of equal or greater value will happen